He'd talk to them and leave and went to the next block. You know, we meet people like his friend Kanata, or we'd go and, you know, sometimes we just waste time and go to the mall and hang out.
And during that period, again, in 2000, how often would you see him alone?
Yeah, at least about 3 times a week or more.
Did you have any discussions about drugs with him?
Yes. I brought it to his attention that, you know, I said what happened with Taz, and he was like, "Oh my God, really? What did you give him money for? That guy's, an idiot. I'm the guy you should have talked to." And I said, "Well, you weren't out at the time." And he said, "I got the whole projects, man. Are you kidding me?" And I said, "Well, it's too late now." So I just tagged along for a while. I didn't have any cash money at that time because I had given, most of it to Taz.
All right. Did you ever see during that time? Did you ever see World with a gun?
Yes.
Can you explain that?
Yeah. When I used to go pick him up at home, he would be getting dressed. We would be getting ready to leave, and he'd put a gun inside his waistband and put his shirt over it.
Did you ever travel with him?
Yes.
Where did you go?
We went to Cleveland one time.
Did you know what the purpose of the trip was?
Yes. They said that there might be an opportunity to sell drugs out there. He knew some people that knew some people. We went out there, but we didn't bring any drugs with us. He was just going out to pretty much, look the place over.
Did you meet someone with the nickname Homicide?
Yes, I did.
How did you meet that person?
The first time I met him was in front of a barbershop in Brooklyn. I believe it was on Bedford Avenue.
Who were you with?
I was with World. We were going to get haircuts, and Homicide happened to be walking by. I think he was coming out of the barbershop, and World and him stopped to talk to each other. They actually, went a few feet away and were discussing stuff for about 10 minutes. And when Hommo left and World,
Could you hear what they were saying?
I couldn't hear what they were saying, no.
All right, what happened when Hommo left?
So when Hommo left, World approached me and we went into the barbershop and I told him, "Oh, who is that?" And he said, "That's actually somebody that's involved with my brother's murder." And I said, "Really? I mean, I couldn't tell that from the way you guys were talking calm and everything." He said, "Yeah, well, he was denying it that he had any part in it. But I know better." Anyway, he said, "People are going to have to pay the piper." So I was like, wow, really? I couldn't believe it that both of them were so calm talking when, he actually felt that he was responsible for his brother's death. I was like, you have control over your anger like that. Wow. So,
Did you see Homicide any other times?
yes. I seen him in a restaurant on Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn.
Who were you with?
I believe I was with Taz at that time.
And what happened?
And he approached Taz and he said that in about half an hour, he was headed down south to buy a bunch of guns. He was gun running. And he said that, what caliber? You guys need any specific caliber when I'm down there. I can get this, that, and the other. And Taz was like, "Get me this." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. If you can find a baby .9, which is a smaller version .9 millimeter, I'd take one of those." And he was like, "Oh, okay, I'll keep it in mind." Then he left.
Did you ever learn any information about Homicide intending to do something to you?
Taz said something to me that, he had an eye on me. But that's the only person that ever said that, he saw my car and, he saw me with a necklace that I was wearing and wanted it or something like that.
Was your car unusual at that time?
Unusual in what way?
Well, did it stick out?
Yeah. In that neighborhood, it did.
Did something happen to Homicide?
Yes. He was killed.
And Homicide is Darryl Baum, correct?
Yes.
And you actually pled guilty to this murder, right? As part of your cooperation agreement?
I did.
All right. Do you remember the night that he was killed?
I do.
And do you remember approximately when that was?
In the summer of 2000, approximately.
And about what time of day did the murder happen?
Towards the evening.
Do you remember what you did earlier that evening?
Before I got to Taz's house. Not really.
Okay. When you say you went to Taz's house, you went to Taz's house that night?
Yes.
Before the murder?
Yes. Yes. I was at Taz's house.
Where was Taz's house?
On Quincy.
And who else did you see there?
I saw Boo. You want me to describe what happened that night?
I do eventually, but first I want to ask you overall. By the time that Homicide was murdered, can you describe what you were doing with members of the gang in LG as far as spending time goes?
More than what I mentioned?
By that point, was it unusual for you to spend time with them?
No, not really. Regularly, I was spending time with Taz and World, so...
Okay, so you went to Taz's house. When you say Taz's house, who actually lived at that house, do you know?
His girlfriend and I believe one of her children.
Do you remember her name?
I think it was Leslie, but I'm not sure.
And you said that that person lived on Quincy?
Yes.
And what happened once you got to Quincy?
When I got to Quincy, Taz somehow had noticed that Hommo was on the corner speaking to someone.
And let me just stop you. You're saying that... What's the source of information for that? That Taz noticed this?
I'm not sure whether Hommo may have driven past us.
I'm asking you, did Taz tell you this?
Yes.
By the way, when I say you went to Taz's girlfriend, were you driving your car to go there?
Yes. Yes.
So please continue. Taz told you that Dash
Said that Hommo was on the corner and, that he's one of the guys that's responsible for Wise's murder. He's right here, right now. I can't kill him because he'll recognize me, he says.
I'm sorry. At that point, how did you know that because someone was responsible for Wise's murder, there was going to be a threat or attempt on their life?
Because of everything that Taz had told me, and things that World that told me up to that point.
All right.
Before World came out, Taz, as I described earlier, had told me the whole story about, Wise's death, and how there was some retaliation before then, before World had even come out. I believe I was told about some form of retaliation. There was a guy that was shot or killed in LG. And then, when World came out too, for instance, that night, when I saw them talking, Hommo and him, and he said, "Oh, this is one of the people that's responsible for my brother." And I said, "Wow." And he told me, "Oh, well, he tried to deny it." And I said, "Oh, wow, that's crazy." And he said, "It's okay, because everyone is going to pay. Everyone had a part in it. So by pay, I figured, drop dead."
So Taz told you that one of the people who was responsible for Wise's death was down the street?
Yes.
So what did he ask you to do?
So he said, "I can't go kill him because he'll recognize my face," meaning Taz. So he says, "You go and do it." So I was like, okay. Me? I had never been asked to do anything like that before. I didn't want to sound like a coward, and I wasn't intending to do it, but I said, okay, I'm going to go down the street, and if I can get a shop, then I'll take it. But I just walked down the street all the way to the corner, and I saw Hommo there. I could have killed him, but I wasn't going to.
You had a gun with you?
Yeah, I had a gun on me. I just went dash.
Did you have any kind of interaction that you recall with Hommo?
I believe that when I turned after either right before or after the bodega stop on the corner, which is right across the street from where he was, he may have seen me. He just nodded like, recognizing me, and I nodded back. And I walked back up the block.
Can I just ask you, back in 2000 in that neighborhood, Bed-Stuy, did you feel like you stuck out?
Somewhat. I tried to dress the part, baggy jeans and stuff, but the haircut short. But I pretty much did stand out. People could have, mistaken me for Hispanic, but...
So go ahead. You saw Homicide, and did you have any interaction with him?
Yeah, briefly. We nodded to each other.
And then what happened?
And I walked back up towards Taz's apartment. And I approached him and I said, look, I couldn't do it. It was like 5 people around. He even turned around and looked right at me. There is no way in hell I could have done it.
So what did you do?
I was pretty stunned at that point. I just fell back. Taz got on the phone. I don't know who he was calling. And I got in the car with Boo. Boo said, let's drive. We went, positioned ourselves. He said park here, which was, I believe, right before. I think the street was Lexington.
What street were you driving?
Marcy.
And it was just you and Boo, correct?
Yeah. He said park right here, and he got on the phone. I'm not sure if he was using my phone or his own phone, but I'm pretty sure he was talking with Taz. And we waited there. And within those few minutes, it came. I understood that eBay would be appearing. I was like, okay. So I guess he's going to be the one to do it. It all happened so fast.
Did you come to an understanding at some point during that time, during that period after you left Taz's house, what you were actually doing? That you were actually waiting for somebody to be killed?
Yeah. At one point I thought Taz was going to do it anyway on his own. But when we parked there and Boo mentioned eBay, I was like, okay. I was just relieved to have gotten out of doing it myself. And I waited there, and then I heard the shot. And Boo opened the passenger door and, because it was a 2-door coupe, and pulled the seat forward to give space for someone to jump in the back. And then eBay was running the block and jumped into the car, into the back seat. And closed the door.
And what happened?
I saw him jump in the car. He had a gun in his hand, and he says, go, 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 I just popped his head off. So I pulled out slowly because I don't want to go crazy and was close to the car in front of me. And Boo said, make a left right here. We gotta go. We gotta get clean. I guess meaning get rid of the gun. We went up a few blocks and I stopped where that guy Moo that you had the photo of. Moo.
I'm sorry.
Moo.
Government Exhibit 3 Moo?
Yeah. The house that he was squatting in.
Okay.
And pulled up over there. Moo said, pull up over here. When I pulled up, I noticed Taz was there and Abu Baker was there and Moo's was there. eBay got out of the car and so did Boo. I stepped out of the car briefly. eBay went straight into Moo's house and Moo followed him.
Okay.
And I said, guys, this shit just happened 2-3 blocks away. I don't think this is a good idea sticking around with all these people. I'm getting out of here. So I said, I'll talk to you later. I jumped in my car and I left.
Okay, I'm going to show you Government 602, which is an evidence. Do you recognize the street on there?
Yes.
All right. And running down the center of the map from the top to the bottom, that's Marches Avenue, correct?
Correct.
And Marcy Avenue, Lisa. And running from the center from left to right is Quincy Avenue. I'm sorry, in the center, horizontally is Quincy. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that these series of events started at Taz's girlfriend's house. Can you point to where that is on that map? And if you touch the screen, it will make a mark. So make a mark.
Right around there.
Okay, so that's in the left-hand center of the screen. When you walk to go look for Homicide, can you tell the jury on the map where exactly you went? So you went to the intersection of Marcy and Quinns,
Because the Baudet BA was right on the corner.
and that's where you say you saw him?
I saw him on the opposite corner. Saw. Lisa.
If we do the directions as upper left, other the corner, can you tell me where he was?
I don't understand. Lisa. Say again.
Well, instead of saying the northeast, southwest, sound, west corner, can you just say between Marcy and Quincy? Was it the equivalent of the northeast corner? The southeast, if this map is running true to directions?
Northwest like, right. I don't know. I'm messing up the map here.
All right, we'll start again.
Oh, man. I just hit it twice.
Hit the big box that leads to the corner you want. So this would be 1, this would be 2, this would be 3, 4.
This box. That corner. That's where he was.
All right. And then you turned around after you saw him and went back to Quincy where you marked before?
Correct. I was on the opposite side of the street.
Once you got in your car with Boo and drove, can you tell the jury? Show the jury which direction you drove and where you stopped.
I drove in this direction, down Marcy. Well, I stopped here.
Okay.
I drove down Marcy and I stopped there.
All right. So you went on Quincy to Marcy and took a left on Marcy?
Yes.
All right. And when you stopped, do you remember which side of the street you were on?
The same side as the green.
So left side?
Yeah.
And when you heard the shots, which direction were you facing relative to the shots?
The shots were behind me.
And which direction did you see or did eBay come from? Do you know?
From where the shots were. From behind me.
Okay. So he came from the direction of Quincy and Marcy towards you?
Yes.
Once you got in the car, where did you drive?
I made that first left on Lexington and I drove up a few blocks to Moo's house.
Do you recall at what point in the drive eBay said he popped his head off?
As soon as he got in.
In the days following the murder, did you have any discussions with anyone about it?
Yes. I spoke to... Well, the following day I spoke to Taz and Abu Baker about it. And Abu Baker said, guys, this is bad because, the word on the street is that they seen you guys around there and that you guys are responsible. They seen the shooter get in your car, meaning my car, and they knew that my car would be parked in front of Taz's and they'd see us together. So the neighborhood talks and they say, we're the guys responsible. Because they said, some people saw the shooter jump into my car and we drive away. They said, this is bad because Taz is a Muslim, and Hommo with as Muslim, and a Muslim killing a Muslim is a big no-no. So I have to somehow fix this.
What did he propose? And this is Abu Baker who is talking?
Yeah.
What did he propose?
He said, I have to neutralize the situation, especially with the car, because they're saying, whoever shot jumped in your car. So let me drive to the funeral with the car. And I'm going to get out. I'm going to speak to everyone and say, I wouldn't be so audacious. Come out here.
So Abu Baker wanted to drive the getaway car to the funeral of the victim?
Yeah. That's what he said he did. He said, let me hold the car on the funeral day and drive over there with it. And I said, do what you feel would be best to try to, calm things down.
Okay, and did he take your car?
Yeah.
And did he report back to you what he did?
Yeah. He said that he went there with the car and he spoke to people and he assured them that we had nothing to do with it whatsoever.
Did you speak to World about what had happened?
Yeah. I spoke to World. I told him, man, that night, that's the guy, even though I'm sure you're pleased. And he was like, yeah, like I said before, what has to be done? What has to be done? I said, "Yeah, I understand that, but, I wasn't told anything." Taz, why didn't he do it? I was a little pissed off that Taz didn't do it, and he was pushing me to go do it that night, and I was thrown in the mix a little bit. But that's the conversation I had with World. He was pretty happy that it was done.
Okay, and afterwards, did you continue to spend time with World?
I started actually spending more time with World.
Let me just stop you. One question, which is when you were doing this driving in the car, if you had refused to do it, would the people in the gang from LG have continued to spend time with you?
Objection, Your Honor.
Yes, sustained. It's speculative. Disregard the answer. The answer was yes, Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa. Why did you act as the getaway driver?
I was already in with Taz for that money, and I didn't want to distance myself from the group while that money was still owed to me. If I had, refused to drive that night, I would have been deemed a coward, might have been given an extra reason to beat me out of my money. At that point, I hadn't come to the realization yet that I was actually conned out of the money, so I wanted to stick with the group.
Do you know the name JR?
Yes.
Do you know what happened to JR?
Yes.
What happened?
He was killed.
Did you ever was he murdered?
Yes.
Did you ever do anything to bring about the murder of JR?
Well, one time I was with World, and he said that let's swing by. I believe it was Myrtle Avenue. He said that.
Why did he want to go there?
He said that JR's wife supposedly had a salon, beauty salon or something there. And he said, let's go check it out because I want to verify, see if I see her there. Or maybe he's even spending time there.
Okay, and what was your understanding of why you were going to see if he was there?
Well, yeah, because JR was part of the few people that World and the rest of these guys believe that, we're responsible for Wise getting walked. So he went there because he wanted to pretty much, find out the whereabouts. This guy JR, find out where he stays, where his wife is, Whack D, Lisa.
Before the murder of JR, did you overhear any conversations about before the murder happened? Did you overhear any discussions about that? About the murder before it happened?
Before it happened?
Yeah.
Number.
Did you hear anybody complaining about anything?
Oh, yeah. I remember eBay was complaining one time because World, it was broad daylight one day, and someone had told World had seen JR out in front of his real estate office that he owned. And he got on the phone and was calling eBay saying, get this guy, he's here right now. And eBay was complaining saying, what does this guy think?
Objection to it unless he heard the conversation.
Did you hear this conversation?
Yes. Oh, the actual conversation?
Yeah.
No.
Objection sustained.